electric current in a circuit is due to potential difference between two terminals of the battery. To illustrate the concept of potential difference and the nature of an electric circuit, consider two metal plates positioned parallel to each other. Each of these plates carries an opposite charge, one positive and the other negative. This arrangement of charge plates creates an electric field in the region between the plates. This field is directed away from the positive plate and towards the negative plate. A negative charge from the negatively charged plate moves towards the positive plate. This occurs without the need of energy in the form of work. It occurs naturally and thus lowers the potential energy of the charge. In the given arrangement, the positive plate is at higher potential and the negative plate is at lower potential. Thus, there is a difference in electric potential between the two locations. Now let's connect these plates using a metal wire. On connecting these plates, the wire serves as a sort of pipe for the flow of charge. Gradually, negative charges move from the negative plate through the charge pipe to the positive plate. As a negative charge leaves the lower plate, the plate becomes less negatively charged. Similarly, as a negative charge reaches the positive plate, the plate becomes less positively charged. The amount of positive and negative charge on the two plates slowly diminishes. Eventually, the electric field between the plates becomes so small that there is no observable motion of charge between the two plates. The plates ultimately lose their charge and reach the same electric potential. In the absence of an electric potential difference, there will be no charge flow. This illustration demonstrates the working of an electric circuit. For a true circuit, charge must flow continuously through a complete loop, returning to its original position and cycling through again. The necessity for a complete loop in a circuit can be demonstrated through an example. If you take a battery pack, that is, a collection of cells, a light bulb, and some connecting wires, and make a circuit, the bulb lights up. However, when you disconnect the wires, the bulb does not light up. The fact that the bulb lights up and remains lit when the wires are connected is evidence that charge is flowing through the bulb's filament, and that an electric current has been established. A closed loop through which charge can continuously move is referred to as a closed circuit. If the loop is not complete, then charge stops flowing, and such a circuit is known as an open circuit. Also, for continuous flow of charge, there should be an electric potential difference across the two ends of the circuit. This potential difference is usually maintained by the use of a cell or a battery. Constructing an electric circuit can be a complex task, as a circuit uses various kinds of electrical components. A diagram is drawn to represent the components and flow in a schematic form. This schematic representation of various electrical components using suitable symbols is called a circuit diagram. Circuits that consist of just one battery and one load resistance are very simple to analyze, but they are usually not found in practical applications. Most often, you find circuits with more than two components. You can connect the components in a circuit in two ways: in series and in parallel. Let us first examine a series circuit. In a series circuit, each device is connected such that there is only one pathway through which current can traverse the external circuit. Each charge traversing the loop of the external circuit passes through each resistor consecutively. In a parallel circuit, each resistor is placed in its own separate branch. The presence of branch lines provides multiple pathways for a current to traverse the external circuit. on arriving at the branching location or node. A charge selects the branch on which it will travel back to the low potential terminal. Thus, each charge passing through the loop of the external circuit passes through a single branch. Consider the series circuit shown in the figure. Since there is only one pathway through the circuit, every charge encounters the resistance of every device. Therefore, adding more devices results in a larger overall or net resistance. This increased resistance serves to reduce the rate at which charge flows. That is, it serves to reduce the electric current. The rate at which charge flows through the external circuit is the same all through. The amount of current varies inversely with the amount of overall resistance. There is a clear relationship between the resistance of the individual resistors and the overall resistance of the circuit. As far as the battery supplying the charge is concerned, the presence of three resistors R1, R2 and R3 in series is equivalent to having a single resistance equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 in the circuit. The equivalent resistance of a circuit is the amount of resistance that a single resistor would need in order to equal the overall effect of the collection of resistors in the circuit. For series circuits, the mathematical formula for computing the equivalent resistance R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. The current in a series circuit is equal at all points. Charge does not pile up and begin to accumulate at any given location. Therefore, the current at one location is never more than that at other locations. Similarly, charge is not used by resistors. Therefore, the current at one location is never less than that at other locations. Thus, charges can be thought of as marching together through the wires of an electric circuit, all at the same rate. The amount of current flowing through the circuit is the same at all points. The current in the first resistor is equal to the current in the last resistor and the current in the battery. That is, the total current passing through a circuit is equal to the current at any point in the circuit. Mathematically, you can write I total is equal to I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I3. You can calculate the current if the battery voltage and the resistance of individual resistors are known. Using the individual resistor values and the equation above, you can compute the equivalent resistance. Additionally, using Ohm's law, the current in the battery, and thus through every resistor, can be determined by finding the ratio of the battery voltage and the equivalent resistance. That is, I battery is equal to I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I3 is equal to V battery divided by R equivalent. In a series circuit, the battery supplies energy to the charge to move it through the cells and to establish an electric potential difference across the two ends of the external circuit. As the charge moves through the external circuit, it encounters a loss of electric potential. This loss in electric potential is referred to as voltage drop. If an electric circuit, powered by a battery V, is equipped with more than one resistor in series, then the cumulative loss of electric potential is V volts. Thus, there is a voltage drop for each resistor, but the sum of these voltage drops is V volts. The same as the voltage rating of the battery. The total voltage drop of the circuit can be expressed mathematically as V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, where each voltage drop is equal to the product of the total current in the circuit and the resistance in the respective resistor. Substituting the values of individual voltage drops in this expression, you get IR is equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. By solving this expression, you get the equivalent resistance of cells is series circuits, R as the sum of resistances of each resistor in the circuit. Hence, R is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. In a parallel circuit, there are multiple pathways by which current can flow. If you add another resistor in a separate branch, it provides another pathway for the charge to flow. Therefore, when more resistors are added to a parallel circuit, the overall resistance decreases. This decreased resistance increases the current. This phenomenon can be explained using the example of tollways. A toll booth provides resistance to car flow on a tollway. Adding more toll booths in a toll station will provide more pathways for cars to drive through. These additional toll booths will decrease the overall resistance to car flow and increase the rate at which they go through. Similarly, in a parallel circuit, charges divide up into separate branches. Based on the resistor in each branch, the current across branches can vary. Nonetheless, when taken as a whole, the total amount of current in all the branches is equal to the amount of current at locations outside the branches. Thus, the amount of current in the circuit is the same across all points outside the branches. However, it is split over multiple pathways. This principle can be represented as I total is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3, where I total is the total amount of current outside the branches and in the battery, and I1, I2 and I3 represent the current in the individual branches in the circuit. In a parallel circuit, a charge does not pass through every resistor. Rather, it passes through a single resistor. Thus, the entire voltage drop across that resistor must match the battery voltage. It doesn't matter whether a charge passes through resistor 1, resistor 2, or resistor 3. The voltage drop across that resistor must equal the voltage of the battery. Put in equation form, this principle is expressed as V is equal to V1 is equal to V2 is equal to V3. Let the equivalent resistance be R. As you saw earlier in series circuits, you can calculate the amount of current flowing through each resistor as the ratio of the voltage drop across that resistor to the resistance of that resistor. Substituting the values of I1, I2 and I3 in I total is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3, you get V divided by R is equal to V divided by R1 plus V divided by R2 plus V divided by R3. This gives you 1 divided by R is equal to 1 divided by R1 plus 1 divided by R2 plus 1 divided by R3.